Hi, this video will cover setting the GeoServer Data Directory location, as well as moving the data directory to a new location. It's always a good idea to move the GeoServer Data Directory outside of the main GeoServer directory. GeoServer updates are fairly frequent, and when it comes time to upgrade GeoServer, it'll be much easier if the data directory is outside of the GeoServer directory. Okay, so we're logged in as root via SSH. Let's start by switching to the GeoServer Web Apps directory. And we're going to copy the data directory to a new location. We can keep the name as data if we want to. The main thing is you want to make sure that the permissions and ownership remain as they are. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is stop Tomcat. So let's go ahead and stop Tomcat. Okay, now to copy the directory, I'm going to use CP with the A flag, and that will keep all the permissions and ownership correct. So I'm going to copy data directory. I'm going to copy it to the op directory and keep the name as data. You can change the name of the data directory to anything else you like here. You can call it geodata, whatever you like. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that. Now if we switch to the op directory and check, we see now that it has copied the data directory and it's kept the owner as Tomcat. Okay, let's just go into that directory and have a look as well. Okay, everything looks good, and now it's time to update the data directory location in the configuration file. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so now in the GeoServer directory, I'm going to go into the web INF directory and open the web XML file. You can do this in VI, of course. I'm using WinSCP to make it a little easier to see. Okay, and if we scroll down here, we should see a section that's commented out here that exists for the data directory. We can create a new one, or we can just simply remove the comments here. And then go ahead and update this to the location we chose, which was op data. And save that. Okay, now let's go ahead and start GeoServer back up and make sure everything looks okay. Okay, back in our shell, let's go ahead and start up Tomcat. Okay, let's have a look. That seems to be okay. Let's go ahead and log in. Okay, looks good. Let's go ahead and just create another workspace and make sure that's writing the files correctly. Let's create a new workspace here, demo. Okay, let's go back and make sure that the workspace is written to the disk. Okay, let's go to the new location where we moved our data directory. Okay, and workspaces. And there's our demo workspace. Okay, so just to recap, in order to set the data directory, we first, of course, stopped Tomcat, and then we copied the data directory to a new location, making sure to keep the ownership and permissions correct. We then edited the GeoServer web XML file to point to the new data directory location, and we then started up Tomcat to make sure everything looked okay. Okay, and finally a note about upgrading. When we move the data directory over to the opt data, Okay, just a note about upgrading. We mentioned earlier that moving a data directory will make upgrading much easier. When we moved the data directory, we moved it to opt data. You'll notice we did not move the configuration files or directories here. They remain in place under the GeoServer directory. When you do an upgrade, you replace the configuration files with the new GeoServer version. But because the lib directory is still here under the original location, you will need to reinstall any extensions you've installed in GeoServer. And it's important to note that although we moved the data directory to a new location, the configuration directories remain in their original location under the main GeoServer directory.